G'day guys, and today I want to bring up something kind of funny that I've just thought about concerning climate change. Now, down here in Australia, climate change used to be the #1 political issue, back when I think Julia Gillard was running for the Prime Ministership. And then it took a backseat to the economy, it became the second most important issue, but it's beginning to take the fore again. And what I think will happen is, with the Labor Party not winning the election, not getting into power, the people who are very keen on climate change, who will organise school walkouts and that sort of thing, they're going to get very anxious and going to talk more about climate change and how not enough's being done and that sort of thing. Because of course Scott Morrison will not completely nationalise all industry and make us all run off electric cars or something. He won't ban petrol cars and everything else that these people want. But yeah, I was having to think about this, and I thought of something quite funny actually, because if you think about it, if you really do think about it, environmentalists, people who care a lot about climate change, regardless of whether it's real or not, I won't go into that debate here, but these people believe it's true, and for the purpose of this video, that's all that matters. People who are really keen about climate change, or really anxious about climate change, they would be, they would actually agree with the 14 words of the Aryan nation, which is, we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. Which is pretty funny to me, because of course they want to distance themselves from that at all costs, I imagine, as most people would nowadays. But let's have a little think about this. Are these activists, are they not securing an existence for their people by making sure the planet doesn't get polluted to hell? Now, of course, what they say is global temperatures will increase, and eventually either the entire world or large swathes of the world will become uninhabitable. It'll be too hot, it'll be underwater and that sort of thing. So in order to secure an existence for their people, well, you've got to do certain things like reduce emissions and stop driving petrol cars and that sort of thing. So that's pretty funny, but let's think about the latter half of that sentence, securing an existence for white children. Well, I don't know about your nation, guys, but here in Australia, what has happened a couple times is that there's been school walkouts for climate change, and that students will, I'm going to guess, be prompted by teachers and adults, because, children aren't that good at organising things on their own, to, walk out of school and go and participate in marches for climate action and hold banners and all that sort of thing. And so it makes me think, like, environmentalists like to talk about how, we're sort of fucking the planet now and it's not going to be any good, it's going to be all used up and terrible for our children. So are environmentalists not securing a future for white children by ensuring there's enough resources to go around, by, ensuring that the sea levels won't rise and flood everything, that everything won't get too hot, there's not too many freak weather events and that sort of thing? Well, I think that's objectively true, unless they want to make a caveat and say, oh no, it's not a future for white children, it's only a future for everyone but white children. Because, if you support white people in any way nowadays, even in that most mild sense, you can be dogpiled by a bunch of rabid Marxists, essentially. They probably wouldn't, specify that it is a future for white children, it's just a future for children in general. But if we think about it, if we boil it right down to a very basic two-dimensional view, the sort of goal of the environmentalists and the goal of the neo-Nazi is very similar. They're securing an existence of their people and a future for their children, acting against some malevolent force, be it, this, that, or the other. Instead of securing the existence of their people and a future for white children, the environmentalists instead are looking to secure the existence of our planet and a future for our children. So yes, much to the horror of the noble and virtuous climate change activists, they are, when you boil it right down, they do have quite a bit in common with neo-Nazis, which is something hilarious to think about. Now, of course, it would be hilarious to see a kind of a purity spiral of people either being serious or just laughing turned up to some school walkout holding, the 14 words on a big banner with a bunch of peace signs and hippie-trippy nonsense on it. That would be really funny. I believe there is, I don't know if it's fully intentional or fully sincere, or if it's kind of ironic, sort of a minor eco-fascistic movement online, people just saying, God damn, these corporations are screwing everything, we need to make sure the government has control of the economy, essentially, to a degree that we can help preserve the environment. And even in that that's sort of what the climate change activists want at the same time. They want the government, take a handle on the economy to make sure that we don't pollute too much and too much emissions. So even in that, they do have basically the same economic goals of at least the eco-fascists. But if we think about the Nazi Party back in the day, or any kind of neo-Nazi movement, I know the Nazi Party certainly wanted to take control of the economy in order to make sure it could promote non-degenerate material as it saw. So essentially, the environmentalists and the Nazis, they do really have very similar methods for getting shit done, which is, of course, very funny to think about. There's no real ideological point behind this video. I'm not trying to do a death by association thing. All climate change activists are Nazis because they're somewhat similar, and all that bullshit that some people pull up nowadays. I do plan to make another video on sort of the ideas behind environmentalism, and they won't touch certain topics that would really make a difference. But I do want to separate that from this video, because this video is just a laugh, really. Something I noticed and thought people might find it amusing. So thanks all for sticking around, and have a good one.